Okay, so let's begin talking about NocoDB. NocoDB is a piece of software, as its name implies. It's a no-code database. It means that you can create an application based upon a database. You can create a database without writing any code. So it is very similar to solutions like Airtable, and it actually has a very similar interface to like Airtable. So once you create the user for the first time, you are welcome with a screen similar to this one, where you can create a new project. I actually started playing with it before, so I have a small project I created here. But for the example here, we're going to start with a new project and explore this NocoDB solution. This is actually self-hosted into a server with 1 GB of RAM. So it's very small and basic server, but it works decently. So let's begin by creating a new project. Let's name it the project and create it. Okay, so what we can do here is first, we're welcome with user management and API token management. We can create new tables. This is the sidebar for doing most of the tasks related to this database. So it's a lot of data interaction here. So let's create a simple example of creating a project for a survey. So let's do a new table called survey1. Survey one, I'm at survey one. Okay, so now that the table is created, we can add different fields. So let's say we're going to add a field called first name, another one called last name, and we're going to see if what is the favorite color of every person. So we changed the cone type single select. And on a single select, we do the options here, for example, red, green, yellow, blue, white, orange, brown, gray, black. So what happens here is that when I click on add new row, I can add different data here. So let's say I'm going to write my name and my last name. I'm going to select here which color do I want. So for example, let's select green, and let's change it to orange. So easy as it is, like if you were working with a spreadsheet, you can start interacting with this table on NocoDB. But the beauty of this type of applications is that beyond being able to create as a database like this example here, because it is a basic example because it only has one table, but you can actually create forms with it. So if you have a table selected, you have the options here that are called views. And we are seeing a view here that is a grid. So we have a grid of data here. And if we add a form, let's call it survey form, it is going to add automatically all the fields we have, and we can actually share this form. So let's say we are conducting a survey to know, to identify your favorite color. And since we have already added all the fields here, we don't have an option to add any other field except if we add a new field to the table. And we can add a message after the form is submitted. For example, thanks for answering the fields or for filling all fields. And we have an option here to show a button to submit another form or show a blank form after 5 seconds of waiting. So simple as that. I can actually do several things here. Once I click on share view, I have a URL that I can actually share with other people. I have the option to restrict access with password and use theme. That actually allows me to choose one specific color when the user opens this link. So if I use survey mode, we're going to do it. We're going to test this link first without survey mode enabled to see how it changes. So this is without survey mode. This is the way a user would see it. So it has the option to add the first name. Let's add John D, and his favorite color is, let's say, brown. Let's click on submit. And we are conducting, that's the text I actually added and the message after filling the information. If I copy paste the link again, I can actually add a new record to the data. So if I go and click on the table once again and select on the views that I want to actually use the grid view, I can see that I have 2 rows now, one filled by John D, the one that I filled, and that way I have this information structured and I can actually use it to filter it, to sort it, to see the data in different ways, to do a report, for example. So I have all that type of information here. So let's go back to the survey form and change it to have a survey mode. I don't know what that option does, but let's try it. Let's copy the link once again, paste it, and see if it changes anything. Okay, so the survey mode, it's exactly like Typeform. So let me write here, Michael, okay, and you can have the selection here. It's pretty beautiful and seems to be working great. And you have a dark mode and a light mode. So yeah, it's really nice set of features. Basic features, but actually pretty important when you're dealing with data and specifically with forms. So that is actually a very useful option. If we restrict access with a password, probably it will ask for the secret password. So I'm going to write secret here and save password. So when I once again access, it's going to ask me for a password. If I write the wrong password, it's going to say that I don't have the right one. So if I write the right password, it's going to allow me to access the information. But it seems to be not working. Let's try once again. There is something wrong here. Actually, it went into an infinite loop. Let's try that again. Let's write the password correctly. We can unlock and it works now. So I have access once again to the form. Okay, so all of these options seem to be really useful when you are sharing information, when you're sharing these views. Also, you can actually share, let's create a new grid. Let's count colors. And in this grid, I'm going to actually filter and not displaying. I don't want to show the first name and the last name. And I want to add a filter group where let's see, if I wanted to group by color, okay, so we have different types of filters here. So I can add a filter, but that doesn't allow me to group items. So you can actually filter, but you cannot group items here, so that you cannot use the filter to do grouping. You can add a sort option. You can change the height of the row and adding a new row. So those are the options that we have here. I wish I could display grouped items, for example, counting how many orange, how many brown, how many yellow, how many of those colors I have selected to do, for example, a poll or a selection of some sort, right? So it could be useful to do reporting. And I can actually share this view. And when I give this link to someone, and they access that link, they are going to be able to see the same grid that I had right here with the live data. So if someone adds more data, they can actually see it here. And you can change when you share this view, the different options that you can do, because we have a collaborative view where they can edit or change the view. If you do it in a locked way, no one can edit the configuration until it is unlocked, and personal is only the user can edit the configuration. Other persons that receive the link do not have the option of editing the configuration for this view. So if we click on locked view, we refresh here, we don't have any options here to change the fields displayed, the filter, the sort option, or even the size of the grid. So the only thing that I can do is see the information. So it is a useful way to display the information in a safe and secure way. Okay, so the last option for a view that I want to see here is gallery and Kanban. So those two views, let's try them. I haven't tried them before, so I'm not sure what to expect. On gallery, what I can see is that I have a list of items of the first columns here. So let me display all the information. So it looks like if you had a card for every record here. So, and inside of that card, you have all the field names and the values. So that seems to be the purpose of showing this information here, and you can edit them individually. Also, you can have comments. So you can do comments on every item on the list. You can have a record URL that when you share it, let's see it, we access directly this gallery view of this item. So, okay, that is one option. And what else can we do? We can save and exit. It's similar to having a different way of displaying the records, only instead of being vertical, they are horizontally placed and the fields are displayed in a cards. So that's the gallery view. If you probably have a picture, it makes sense probably to see it this way. It looks like a profile, for example. So let's try it. Let's edit the data here and add another column that is called profile picture. And let's see if we have an option here to select an image. File. I can see there is an upload or attachment. Yes, there is an attachment here. And let's click on save. And let's add a picture and see if it displays it in. Let's select this one. And you can actually see that it is displayed here. So I expect that in a gallery, it's going to show the picture here. So it probably is more useful like that. So I can change the fields that I want to see here and remove the first name, the last name, the favorite color, and only select the profile picture. And then you can see actually a gallery view where I have one record with one picture and two other records without any picture. So that is the exploration of gallery. Let's move on into Kanban. This one allows you to have a grouping field. I can select here the favorite color. I want to create this Kanban, so I have a different set of records here displayed, filtered by the color. So for example, I have one orange, one brown, I have one yellow, and all of the other colors, I have 0 items. So if it is a Kanban, probably I can move them around. So if I would change from yellow to green, I can do it visually by drag and dropping the card from yellow now to green. This is very useful, for example, if you are doing project management and you want to display the status of some task in different useful ways. For example, a Kanban board, just like this, and you can see which tasks are executing or are pending, for example. So this seems to be an interesting feature to do that and interact with the information visually. So those are all the type of views that you can do with NocoDB. Besides that, there are many options here where you can integrate with webhooks. So let's click within the webhook options and create a new webhook. The webhook allows you to write a title, to select the action after insertion, to decide which action you want to take, and the URL you're going to use and the data you're going to send. So this is very useful if after inserting you want to call a URL, or after updating or after deleting. And let's say you're going to call some URL and you want to send there data1 as parameter with the value, and on the value you can actually use the data from the table. So if we test this webhook, it's going to call this URL and send that data. So that seems to be the case here. Let's keep moving here and add and explore other options we have here. You can download the data, you can upload a CSV file, and you can share this view, get an API snippet. Let's copy the API snippet. So it is an API snippet for you to access the data. You can have a snippet to access the data on JavaScript, Node, NocoDB SDK, PHP, Python, so that you can actually access this view from your application and get data directly into your application. That seems to be very useful. So that's the overall view. There are some options here about teams, settings, themes, and other types of options of NocoDB, but the main features we have already seen here. And there's still a lot to talk about on no-code databases and no-code applications. And NocoDB, it's actually a very useful product and seems to be based off on Airtable, and it's actually very simple in interface, but powerful in the usage you can actually do to it. It has very powerful sharing features and interesting webhooks that you can actually use to automate tasks within a business. So that's it for this exploration of this NocoDB software, and hopefully it's helpful to someone. And if you want me to explore any other type of software, just tell me and I will try to get it and show it to you and see what are those things that you can actually use for it. In next series, we're going to start doing something with these types of software so that you can actually see what you can achieve using these automation tools in a daily basis and using real life examples to actually do something with it. So keep tuned, stay tuned, and subscribe if you haven't done it. And thanks for your attention.